Okay, so the video cut off. We're starting back at verse 6. That the generation to come might know them, even the sons which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their sons. So it's a generational thing, right? You need to keep passing this truth to your sons, and just like during, this truth has been passed on, believe it or not, even through the times of captivity, which we're still in captivity, but I'm referring more towards the time during when Judah and the rest of Israel were slaves in America, in the new land, which is referred to as Arsareth, okay, in the scriptures. But, even throughout that captivity and throughout that oppression, this word has standed faithful and true, okay? Because the slaves passed it on to Abba Bivens, the elder apostle Abba Bivens, and then he brought it in with the Hebrew Israelites, okay? So verse 8, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with Yahawah. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. All right, and this is dealing with northern kingdom. They didn't have Judah's back, during the time of battle, which I believe this is referring to, the tribe of Judah and Israel split up. They became, instead of one nation, they became two nations, and that's what this is dealing with. Northern kingdom, they didn't keep the covenants of Yahawah, meaning they left the laws. All right, and that's what the next verse says. Psalm 78:10. They kept not the covenant of Yahawah and refused to walk in his law, and forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan. So part of those marvelous things were the chariots, Moses was, well, let me keep reading. It's going to tell you. He divided the sea, caused them to pass through, and made the waters to stand up as an heap. And literally, now that we have this truth, we know that it was a chariot that split the Red Sea. All right, a so-called UFO. So, and here's more testimony to the chariot in verse 14. In the daytime, he also led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. Okay, so, let's go to Psalms 104:3, and that says right there, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. All right, so that was that cloud that led them in the daytime. And then, let me see if I can find the, oh yeah, Spirit's working with me. So here's the nighttime. We're going to go to the middle of the screen. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, Yahawah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. All right, so those flames of fire is dealing with what we just read in in Psalms, the chariots, the so-called UFOs. So we're here in verse 14. It says, in the daytime he also led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. So that's literally dealing with the chariots, okay? So that's what the children of Israel were led by. A so-called UFO was leading them in the wilderness. All right. And going down to, let's jump down to 24. It says in 78:24, and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Meaning he was dropping down manna out of the chariot. All right, they were eating angels' food. All right, and the angels are the ministers of fire, right? And they're those UFOs, which are the chariots. Those are literally on fire, right? And it's technology far beyond what we could, imagine on Earth, or Esau's technology. Doesn't stand a chance. Okay. Verse 28, he's talking about the manna still, and he let it fall in the midst of their camp round about their habitations. So they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. All right. So, the chip, when it comes out, you're going to have that microchip in your hand. Otherwise you're not going to be able to buy or sell. You're not going to be able to go to the grocery store. It's going to have every piece of data that ever, that you ever imagined that was attached to you. So without that chip, you're not going to be able to buy or sell in Esau's kingdom. But guess what? The chariots, Lord willing, you're an elect man. The chariots have the capabilities. It's easy for them to feed you. All right. The manna was around the midst of their camp, in their habitation. So let's go down to, let's read 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. All right, and who's an evil angel? Esau, right? Because he's actually an angel, but he's an angel of the left-hand side, right? So let's go to Psalms 14 real quick, because I think that's where it talks about Lucifer falling from heaven. Oh yeah, right here. Isaiah 14:12. This is dealing with that evil angel, all right, who is Esau. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? All right, dealing with the so-called white man. All right, because he's the one who weakens the nations by, basically ever since he defiled and polluted the tabernacles of Jerusalem under the Greek Alexander the Freak, the true Greek freak. That's when they defiled the temple and the tabernacles, because they you couldn't celebrate the Sabbath, you couldn't keep the Sabbath. You couldn't keep any of the festivals. It was all against the law to do that. All right, and you can read that in the book of Maccabees chapter 1. All right, that's basically the start of the so-called white man imposing his will and destruction, in the tabernacle of Jerusalem. All right. 14 we'll read real quick. Well, we can read 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahawah, in which the white man has done, right? In the 1980s, it was between Russia and America. They called it the race to space. All right, so they try to, exalt their thrones above the stars of Yahawah, which is pure blasphemy. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, And that north was dealing with North America, or Arsareth, which means new land, new world. Because America was the new world, the new land, all right? That's why they want to start a new world order. That's their plan, that's their agenda. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. All right. So literally, verse 14, I will be like the Most High. The so-called white man has literally set himself up as God in the temple, right? Caesar Borgia, so-called Jesus Christ, he's a so-called white man. And that's what everybody has been taught is God or the Savior, which is blasphemy, man. If you can't see this, it's not for you. These parables are too deep for you. We brought it out earlier, the parables and the dark sayings, they're not for everybody. So that's what it is, man. And verse 16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Right? Because when Esau's kingdom is brought down, all the other heathen nations are going to be like, is this the man, the beast that made the earth tremble with nuclear fire, nuclear power, atomic power? That's how we shake kingdoms. Okay? So they're going to look upon you narrowly, it says, because you're going to lose your power. You're going to lose your blessing. Your blessing, the sword, is going to be, snatched away from you. All right, so let's go back to Psalms real quick. Verse 78. And we're going to go to, let's see. You know what? Let's just go to Psalms 79. And start off in 1. And it says, O Yahawah, the heathen are come into thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of heaven, the flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth. Their blood have they shed like the water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them. All right, so, during the time of, the Maccabees, when they were destroying the temple, I'm talking about the so-called white man, and defiling the temple and the tabernacles of Yahawah, they did all this, They've defiled and polluted the sanctuary, which is Israel. And they've killed the saints. The saints have been killed. And they're still, during the time of Yahawah Shai, they killed Yahawah Shai, the Romans, So he's the first saint. Along with, John the Baptist, they beheaded him at the request of the woman. She requested to have John the Baptist's head on a silver platter. So, all of the saints, Abba Bivens, the blood of the saints is on their hands. Let's read 7. For they have devoured Jacob and laid waste his dwelling place. All right, and that's what they do. They're still devouring our people, Jacob, Israel, with their doctrines and their philosophies and all of their fake bullshit that these strongholds that they keep the Israelites under. And really, it's all Yahawah's will, because this is punishment, right? So let's go to Psalms 85 real quick. And we'll go to 8. And it says, I will hear what Yahawah the Lord will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people and to his saints. But let them not turn again to folly. Meaning, don't let our people, turn into non-belief. Folly is foolishness. Foolishness means non-believer. So it's foolish to be a non-believer in the eyes of Yahawah. So, that's what you got to do. You can't sit there and tell people you're an atheist. That's a common thing for Esau. But for Israel, if you're saying that, you're just acting like Esau. You're taking on his mindset, which is a demonic mindset. All right. Surely his salvation is nigh them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and the righteousness shall look down from heaven. So that's what you see happening now. The truth is spilling out of the earth. Literally, springing out of the earth. This truth is on the internet 24/7 now. You can study, you can learn the truth. You have the prophets who are being wakened up or coming into remembrance, if you will. So, with that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. And also want to acknowledge the Akiam who are pushing the truth with sincerity. Shalom to the elect.